as I lay me down. Heaven, hear me now. I'm lost without a cause, after giving it my all. Winter storms have come and darkened my sun. After all that I've been through, who on earth can I turn to? I look to you, I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you, I look to you, yeah. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you.
Good evening, everybody. How are we today? Happy weekend, happy Saturday. How is it going? Welcome to another Tango. I'm your host today, Lisa Oloyinka. Last week we were discussing if only, the two dangerous words that people use very often, but they don't actually know how dangerous these words are. So they keep going on about, if only I could do this, if only I could do that, if only I could do this, if only I could do that, if only I am this, if only I am that. And that kinds of like keep them caged. This week we're going to be looking at don't get over it, get through it. Don't get over it, get through it. Many a times when things happen in our lives, you hear people saying, time will heal it. Oh, don't worry, you will get over it very soon. Oh, don't worry, that's just one of those things that happen. Oh, don't worry, this is this, don't worry, this is that. And majority of the time, what happens is, in the course of us trying to get through something, trying to get over something, we leave scars. When you're getting over, it means you're not actually dealing with whatever that situation is. When you get over it, it's like when you were supposed to walk through something, you jump over it. Jumping over it doesn't actually solve anything. It might be a very quicker way to wherever you're going. It's like what they say these days, that there is a we are in the microwave generation. I remember in those days when you want to warm your food, or you want to warm your rice, or you want to warm whatever you want to warm, you actually put it on the stove. If it's like rice that you want to warm, you put it in a bowl or in a plate, and then you put the water on, then you put the rice inside it, then you cover it up, then the heat from the water underneath actually warm up the food. But these days, there's nothing like that. You just put it in the microwave, and then 30 seconds, everything is all sorted. You can even cook your rice, you can cook your stew, you can cook your corn on the cob, anything you like in the microwave, very quick. That is what getting over does to you. It leaves scars. And then, look at it, look at it like this, like if you have a wound, and the wound is not healing properly. When wound doesn't heal properly, that's when it leaves a scar or a keloid. That's exactly what happens when you get over something. It leaves the scar. That scar equals to baggage. The baggage now means you carry it with you all the time. Wherever you go, when you are sleeping, when you're watching TV, when you are at work, whatever you're doing, you're carrying it with you all the time. It's a baggage. Look at it like your handbag for ladies. For gentlemen, it's your wallet. Now, this baggage accumulates, it grows. So it's like when you have a drip of water, the water keep dripping and dripping and dripping. If you leave it there dripping, overnight, by the time you get to that water the following morning, you will have a full bowl of water, a full bucket of water. That's what getting over does to you. It grows and then it accumulates until one day you wake up and you're suffering from unhappiness. You're suffering from sadness. You're suffering from depression. You are suffering from anxiety. You are now thinking, if only I have dealt with this. If only I have done that. Unresolved issues build up in your mind, and then it influences your decision, influences your attitude, influences your relationship with people and with yourself. And then what this does is it then robs you of your happiness. Letting go is the same as going through it, not getting over it. When you are going through it, it means you're dealing with whatever that situation is. You are living it. You are experiencing the pain. You are experiencing the hardship. You are experiencing all the negative that's in that experience. And what that is doing is actually teaching you a lesson for another day. So you will know this. When it happens next time, this is what I need to do. Or for this not to happen another time, this is what I need to do. But you cannot learn that lesson if you get over it. You have to go through it. You have to live that experience, regardless of how unpleasant it is, regardless of how sad it makes you feel. You have to go through it. You have to feel it. You have to grieve. You have to cry. You have to punch something if you have to do it. You have to talk about it if you have to talk about it. You have to think about why you were in that situation. What brought you into that situation? You have to look at it from the right angle, from the left angle, from the back, from the front. Then you have to realize, what actually did I do to cause this thing to happen to me? That is going through it. When you go over it, you do not consider all those things. You just put it at the back of your mind. You don't think about it again. You just kind of like, yeah, Sarah, it happens. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna be the only person doing this. Oh, it's not new. All this happens, But you are not really dealing with whatever that situation is. And this is what gets people to that place where they now start saying, if only, if only, if only. If you're the kind of a person that is not content with what you have, you start to envy other people that are doing better than you. You start to feel jealous about them, rather than you actually sitting down and saying to yourself, oh, so person is on this level. Let me ask them, how did they get to that level? So that I can do something about my whole life, so that I will get to that level. No. People who get over things, rather than doing that, they just keep saying, if only, oh, I'm sure they got that job because they were prettier than me. If only I'm a bit prettier. Oh, I'm sure they got that money because they have a sugar daddy, because they have a sugar mommy, or because their parents are rich, or because they live in the USA, or because they live in the UK. No. Somebody who's going through it will sit down, evaluate themselves, assess themselves, look at what things are, what is going wrong, what is going right, what can I do better. That is going through it. Then whatever pain, whatever joy, whatever hardship you come to the conclusion of, then you start to implement them. That is going through it. I remember a few years ago when my father died. I think he died in 2003. Yes, I cried. But one thing I forgot to do is I cried and I got over it. It's not the first time people are dying. It's not going to be the first person to die. But it's just a pity that my father died. And that was it. That's it. Me done. What I forgot to do then was to go through that pain, that grief of losing my father. I didn't do that. It took me 6 good years, because what happened then was, with me getting over it, I left a scar in my heart. I left a scar in my mind. I left a scar in my brain. There is this particular ringtone to my father that my father has got on his phone. It's the same song that is being played in this country every 31st of December. Every 31st of December, when people are saying Happy New Year and they start to sing that song, then I hear that song. I thought it's my father's phone ringing. I start turning left or right, trying to see, oh, Dad. Then when it's not there, I start to cry. And then people who saw me that time, they're like, oh my God, she's happy. It's the new year. She's happy. Oh. What is it is they don't actually know why I was crying. And that went on for 6 good years. Until, and that time again, in between that 6 good years, I could hardly talk about my father. I couldn't talk about him at all. Until one day, I was actually talking to one of my clients who lost a relative about grief, and telling them, oh, you need to grieve, you need to cry, you need to do this, you need to do that. After I said all the necessary things to this person, then it dawned on me, I was actually preaching to myself. What I was supposed to have done 6 years before that time, 6-7 years before that time, I didn't do it. This is the reason why I was carrying this baggage, this unhappiness, this sadness, this anxiety. As soon as it becomes December, the anxiety started. Everywhere I go that time, it's like I see my father everywhere. And it's because of the baggage I was carrying with me all the time. Then I sat down, I thought about it, and I gave myself a very good cry. I actually started mourning for him and grieving his death. 6 years after he died, I started going through the pain of grief. I went through all the 5 stages of grief, because what happened was, when he died, I only did the first and the second stage of grief: anger and denial and hunger. I didn't go through the rest of it. 6 years after that, I now started going through all the stages. And that was when I started feeling relieved within me. Then I started feeling, oh, I should have looked up since all these days. I should have gone through all this since all these years. I wouldn't have carried this baggage with me. I wouldn't have carried this unnecessary unhappiness year after year after year. And after I went through all those stages of grief, and I went through it the right way I was supposed to go through it, then I started feeling this kind of a relief, like you have this heavy load on your shoulders, on your head, and then it was lifted up. After everything, I was like, why didn't I think about this about 6-7 years ago? Why did somebody tell me you have to go through the grief? You have to go through this thing that happened to you. Rather than going, oh, if only he just went and did this. Oh, if only he didn't go to this place. If only he didn't do that. If only he didn't do this. I remember that time, what they told us was, my father they called him as a peacemaker to come and appease to some youths in the area that was trying to start all this problem and whatever. And then while he was trying to be the peacemaker, he slumped and then he died, and then they realized that he had a stroke and all that. And then it was like, if only he didn't go to that place. If only he knew he had high blood pressure. If only he knew one day he's gonna have a stroke and die. If only. This is what happens when people don't go through whatever bad situation is going on around them. Then I went through it. I started feeling elevated. I started feeling happy within myself. I started feeling relieved. Then I started talking about my dad with a smile on my face, telling people about who he was, how he lived his life and everything. I could even now go, then he used to live somewhere, in Peckham Park Road. Then I could walk past the place without me even crying. I could oh yeah, that's where my dad used to live, and then I couldn't cry again. But this is what happens when you go through bad situation. Yes, bad situation happens to us in our lives. It's inevitable. Don't worry, it happens. It might not happen to you maybe when you are a teenager. It might not happen to you when you are a young adult. It might not happen to you in your adult life. Then all of a sudden, bam, it hits you when you are in your middle age. It happens. It will happen. It's one of the changes that happens in life. And change is inevitable. It's one of those things that is bound to happen. You cannot change it because it is change that needs to happen. And when that happens, get through it. Don't get over it. Look at it as this is one of the lessons I need to learn in life. This is one of the ways I need to energize myself. This is one of the ways I need to grow up. This is one of the ways I need to learn about who is in my corner, who is not in my corner, rather than me living in denial that everybody likes me. This is the time I need to understand that regardless of whatever I do, not everybody is going to appreciate me. Not everybody is going to like me. In fact, there will be some people that because of all the good things I do, they are really not happy because of that, and they are looking for my downfall. You have to go through it. You have to understand it. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. Don't be in denial and say, no, that can never happen to me. When you have that at the back of your mind that, nah, that's never gonna happen to me. When it eventually happens, then you get yourself into that stage whereby you are unable to go through it. Then you start getting over it, leaving scars, leaving baggages with you. I want to tell you this evening, it doesn't matter what it is you're going through at this moment. It could be a relationship breakup. It could be a wayward child. It could be a friend that betrayed you. It could be a job that you were really looking forward to. You prepared and you were ready for that interview, and you went for the interview and they did not take you. Or you've sacrificed all your time, all your energy, all your life for a particular job and they still sack you. It's one of those things that happened in life. You need to take stock. Sit down, evaluate the situation. Don't just get over it. You need to go through it, understand what happened and why it happened, and what you can do in future to prevent such from happening to you again. And that is the only way you can live a fulfilled life. You can live a life that will leave a smile on your face, the smile that you will carry along everywhere you go and people will see it. That is the only time you can stop, if only. That is when you start feeling pleased with yourself and the decisions that you are making about your life. Remember, whatever it is, don't get over it. Please, do go through it. Get through it. Walk through it. And that is the only time you can ever please yourself and those around you. This is where I'm going to stop this week. Until next week, Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time, when I see you again for another segment, another topic of Tuto Tango. I leave you with peace, and I will see you next week, Saturday. Have a lovely Saturday. Have a lovely weekend. Love you guys. Stay blessed. Bye.